Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time. This particular thing is a complete work of fiction. It is a total attempt at having fun, just trying to put my radio broadcasting skills to their use. So if you guys, this is for you guys to be able to watch, listen, comment, and have fun. Enjoy yourselves. It's the Missouri Valley 300. It's called the Race to Home 300, and this is going to be with a bunch of stock cars, about 28 stock cars. We're going to give you the starting lineups, and believe it or not, I have decided that we're going to pit some very good names up here. On the front row, how about son and father? Right in the front row, James Petway Sr., James Petway Jr. That's on row number 1. Jim Parker, Jason Pratt, row 2. Stan Harper, Mark Rolando, row number 3. That is 6 positions filled so far. In the 7th position, inside, row number 4, Jeff Hamilton. On the outside of row 4, Daisuke Matsui. Daisuke Matsui in the 8th position. 9th and 10th, that's the 5th row, Michael Berry, Stanton Washero. In the 11th position, Mario Gausler and Stephen Urardi. Row 12, Jason Gerard, or correction, position 12 and 13, or 13 and 14, that is Rufus Rodrigo and Antonio Sanchez. And that is the 14th and 13th and 14th, 15th and 16th position. Mark Anthony, David Wilson Jr. The next position, 17 and 18 out of the initial 10 rows. 17th, 18th position, Ken Baker and Gary Olson. 19th and 20th positions, Dale Carter, Marcus Robinson. That's 20th position. 21st position and 22nd position is, how about this, Shaylin Rogers, Kayla Fisher. Position 22 and 23, Nina Baker, Sharita Thompson. Row 4, Marisha Sullivan, Cornelius Culliver. That's the next position, 24th, 25th. 26th and 27th, or 24th, 25th. 26th, 27th is Marcus Rogers Jr. and Sam Buell. Sam Dunbar, 28th, 29th, Crystal Groves, and 30th position. In last on the field today will be Harper Thomas, and she's going to round out the top 30. There will be multiple driver changes throughout this event because a lot of people wanting to get driving time for the big event where they won't be switching drivers in September, which is called the New York Rally. It's going to be called the New York Rally Road Course Invite, and that'll be the second weekend in September. We will be live streaming that event on YouTube also. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, strap your seats on. Strap on your seat belts and get ready for what's going to be a run for fun. The race to home 300, and hopefully we'll have Jess check to see if we're on and make sure we're audible. In the meantime, the field is coming out of turn 4, and the green flag is waving. We are underway. And it looks like James Petway Sr. and Jr. racing to turn 1 side by side. Boy, these guys aren't giving an inch. They're going side by side down the back straightaway. James Petway Jr. with a slight edge. Petway Jr. just looking at his back bumper, trying to figure out exactly which way he wants to go. Can he go? Turns, and here he goes down the main straightaway, and James Petway Jr.'s got the lead. James Petway Jr. passes Senior, and it looks like in the meantime from the back of the field, we see Harper Thomas, who started 30th on the field, has already picked up 7 positions. How did she pass 7 cars on the first lap and a half? It's going to be a good lead. James Petway Jr. definitely taking care of business, and Petway Sr. certainly looking pretty good. I'll tell you what, if at this point, here comes Rochero. Rochero making a move too on the outside. Gosler is also out there. Mario Gosler trying to make a pass now, going into second position over James Petway Sr. That's not going to work. Petway Sr. lifts on the high side, looks on the low side. There's a battle coming back to the line. Everybody just kind of putting themselves together. Nearly coming up to lap 5 of 300 here as we continue on throughout this event. Can they make it to lap 300? Here comes a big, angry, snarling pack of cars down the main straightaway. James Petway Jr. is currently looking at the back bumper, doesn't quite know what to do with it. On the inside, he's got some moves here. Here again, James Petway Jr. is getting a challenge, and it looks like Mario Gosler. Mario Gosler goes to the inside. Gosler tries to get him on the high side. It's not going to work. Look at this, the battle coming up for position. Gosler doesn't get it. Meanwhile, a fierce battle. James Petway Jr. and Gosler now going for second. Petway Sr., that is. Senior goes to the high side, tries to make the move coming out of turn number 4 as we work lap number 7. Here comes Gosler on the inside, trying to make a little bit of a 3-wide pass. In the Let's Stop the Bullying Chevrolet, that belongs to Harper Thomas. She is just blazing through the field. Harper Thomas and Kayla Fisher is also, they're embroiled in a battle now. They both have been moving up to the field. Kayla Thomas now going to P11, and P11 for Fisher. Meanwhile, a close-up battle into turn number 1. Good, we're live. That's good. Thank you very much, Jess Reports. We are live. That is great. The battles are starting to kind of simmer down, but Harper Thomas not simmering down in the 6th position. Meanwhile, the front 2 not getting away from each other. Here comes James Petway Sr. on the inside, almost crashes him going into the corner, but he somehow managed to get close enough around him, came very close to the outside retaining wall, and he almost picked him off going into the corner. He puts him down on the grass, going into the first corner, down to the back, into turn number 2, headed down the long back straightaway, very short back stretch, I should say, headed to turn number 3, and James Petway Jr. now trying to make a move. He gets close to the bumper, passing him down the main straightaway. James Petway Sr. does take the lead over Petway Jr. It's going to be Mario Gosler 3rd. Here comes Harper Thomas, who's jumped all the way to the 4th position and is now challenging for going to be challenging for 3rd position with Gosler. By the way, the pit window, in case anybody's wondering, by lap 80. So that's what they're looking at there. The ballpark is lap 80. My guess is if he can get to, as far as the last round of pit stops, and that gets closer to lap number 263, you should be good, I think, by 263. Maybe. That will depend on the field. One car kind of going side by side. They're just kind of leaving the pack. Here comes Petway. But right now, Harper Thomas is all over the back wing or over the back deck lid, shall we say, of James Petway Jr. One of the things that we've been watching here as we watch this pack of cars as they come by, what we're watching is as they take a low line to turn, and we almost had a car crash. It looks like and we got the last name wrong, but it was Shaylin Hamilton. Shaylin Hamilton almost went into the inside retaining wall. The car drifted just a little bit. She has cut down a right rear tire. She's going to be headed for pit road here shortly. The back of the field is being caught. Stan Wachero is now at the very back of the field. David Hansen at the back of the field. A lot of driver changes already took place here. They're already taking place. Cars coming in, and the consequence of this is now the back of the field is being caught as it is. And so here's what we're looking at right now. Mario Gosler in the second position is still having a problem, or in the third position had a problem with Harper Thomas. That is that Thomas came on the inside, almost shoved him off into the grass. But boy, she took care of business, and Harper Thomas has got the lead. The front 2 or 3 cars have just absolutely broken away from the field, and Harper Thomas is certainly one driver that everybody's kind of paying close attention to. One of the big movers, too, looks like it's going to be Barrett. We're looking at, by the way, you won't be able to, unfortunately, with the setup we have here, caution flag laps when they come by. So if we do get a caution flag, the sound on this end may silence during the caution flags. We'll explain the technical side of that later if we get time. But meanwhile, right now, Harper Thomas, and we have a caution flag on the race course. It looks like the number 67 car, and that's going to be Stan Wachero. That's the guy who was just about to go a lap down, has found the wall on the right-hand side. It looks like sheet metal damage was detected to cut the tire, and he's spun going into the corner. Our spotter, Jess Mangan, brings up that as he came into the corner, he was just a little on the loose side. He got loose in one car. He collided, actually, according to what we've got. He collided, and there is debris in turn number 2. That's why the caution flag is out. They should be able to get that taken care of real quick, though. But some of it did scatter into turn 3, so the caution flag is out already, and that's with 30. That's actually with 30 laps complete out of the 300 that we will be contested. Both drivers able to get out on their own, actually, of the 2 that were impacted, and actually we just checked that. Both drivers are. Stan Wachero, and by the way, Mario Gosler is being called into the pits for a stop-and-go penalty for avoidable contact on the racetrack, as when he went into turn number 3 to pass Harper Thomas, he nearly pushed her car sideways, in fact made contact with the left, his right front, made contact with the left rear. However, her car is undamaged, so Harper Thomas is going to be able to continue. We do have a driver in the field. They are making quick pit stops, and we're going to tell you there has been multiple driver changes. Piper Johnson has taken over the 97 car that was driven by that was earlier pointed out in our lineups. And now we have Piper Johnson. Crystal Hennington is taking care of car number 86, driving car number 95, the Gary Olson car, now fitted by Tina McCassidy. So that is the run. Tina McCassidy looking really, really good. The debris has already been cleaned up, we're being told, with 34 laps complete. So we should be getting a restart here momentarily, and I got a feeling if they go 4 wide on the start, this is going to be crazy. But this track lends itself to that. 80 feet wide in turn 1 and 2, and 70 feet wide in 3 and 4. So I do expect that there could be some 3 and 4 wide racing, as we do expect the field to be doing. Off of turn number 4, the cars are looking for the green flag, and yes, we're underway. Harper Thomas is trying to make a move on Petway Jr. and almost goes into the grass, 4 wide, cuts it the car to the corner. 3, 4 wide, almost 5 wide going into turn number 3. Harper Thomas has just passed James Petway Jr. and Sr. Harper Thomas has taken the lead. How do you like me now? Harper Thomas made an official move, went 4 wide into turn number 1. Holy smokes, and they're still almost crashed too because they were so close. Boy, they literally, Petway Jr. and Sr. both rubbed tires trying to get out of the way, but they're not looking back. Here's Harper Thomas getting a challenge from James Petway Jr. as she comes down the main straightaway, and boy, oh boy, it's getting real close. Petway Jr. coming back on the inside, gonna try to make the move. The car almost spins, but not to be. Saves it again. Boy, this is just fierce racing. I'm telling you, guys, the car's going somewhere. Whoa, I'm about 4 wide at the back of the pack. How do you like me now? Piper Johnson takes a big jump out of Mario Gosler going into turn number 1. And now Piper Johnson has taken care of business going into turn number 3. Piper Johnson now takes over 3rd. So, boy, the ladies are starting to come up. Kayla Fisher's got number 5 on the board. She's looking at trying to make a pass on Gosler. And Petway Sr., Petway Jr. might want to be careful, but Petway's still got the lead. So it goes in this order right now for the top 5. Petway Sr. with the lead. Petway Jr. second. It looks like Harper Thomas got shoved back to 3rd. Well, 4th place is Piper Johnson. Kayla Fisher, 5th. 6th position belongs to Mario Gosler. Several driver changes. Michelle Davidson is 6th. 6th. 7th place belongs to Jennifer Pratt. 8th place to Jen Path. 8th place is Robert Hamilton. 9th place Stefan Culliver. Cornelius Culliver is in 10th. Marisha Thompson, 11th. 12th, Candy Mills. 13th place, Sandra Parker. 14th place currently is Steve Mahoney. So that is the position 1 through 14. And then 15th position, Christy Allen. So Christy Allen running in 15th position as we speak. There may be a lot of driver changes before this is all said and done with it, but we just missed going into turn number 1. James Petway Jr. just got passed for 2nd place by guess who? Guess who? Harper Thomas. Harper Thomas made a bold move on the inside, almost sent him into the grass, but now Harper Thomas is side by side with Petway Sr., and that pass is about to stick. Meanwhile, PJ Piper Johnson trying to make a move on the inside to try to pass Petway Jr., and that move's going to stick going into turn number 1. So it appears that Piper Johnson has just made a move. They're getting a car length, a car width off the bottom, and now we're being told, I'm being passed a note that race control is not liking the move, and he has been asked to contact race control for an aggressive move that could have almost caused a crash when he tried to fight back on the inside. So Piper Johnson, and he's also been told to give up that position. So now Piper Johnson is now in 2nd position. So Harper and Piper, boy, that's those two combos are just sounds like the world has just fixed right. Two ladies destined to prove that they can not only beat. And Petway Sr. just got Petway Sr. is already in 3rd place. So now Kayla Fisher just said bye-bye to Petway Sr. Now she's rearing up on Petway Jr. And I don't know how this is going to look up too well, but Fisher goes to the inside, headed to turn number 1, makes a move, tries to pull it down to the inside. Petway Sr. knows a little bit better to not be so aggressive, and he's just going to let her pass him. He says, you know what, you've got the line, I'm going to let you have it. Very sportsmanlike move on the part of James Petway Sr. That is, that's one of the things that made Petway Sr. in his prior races in this league. He knew that in a lot of races that if a driver had the line, he'd let him have it going into the corner. He's done just that. So one of the things that, of course, we look at, especially toward the championship later on, is that Petway Sr. and Petway Jr., these two drivers have sort of branched off of each other. Petway Jr., of course, the younger, and Petway Sr., the older. These are the guys that are going to be figuring into this championship this year. Of course, this is the final season for Petway Sr., and they've got no switch outs. They no switch out drivers, as a lot of these other drivers do, because they're both underfunded teams, and that's one of the things that's happened for them over the years. They used to be very well funded, but of course, as they've gotten older, their teams have sort of shut down somewhat in the past. Of course, during COVID, that really took a chunk out of their pocketbook. So they've been, these guys have really been fighting a lot. They've been trying to keep their sea legs underneath it. Petway Jr., Petway Sr. certainly looking at what appears to be a very, very just kind of amazing move right now. Now, what we're looking at the moment, this is it looks like the 77 car, and looks like we had a spin in the middle of the pack, but the spin was on pit road. Luckily, that did not cause a caution because it was on the pit road, and that was the 77 car, Crystal Hennington. So Crystal Hennington is on pit road and is to the attention of the crew. We don't have any pit reporters to keep us informed of what's going on. What I do know is that looking at the car, and I think Jess, who's spotting for me, can let me know, but I think they're looking at the right rear tire, and it looks like there's a blister on the old tire they took off, major blistering on that tire. Boy, that's just heartbreak for Crystal Hennington, who jumped into this with an exciting deal. By the way, the field is sort of taking a peek here, taking a chunk out of the just got past a note here too as well that James Petway Jr. is having a problem with his car. There could be smoke pouring out, and as they're coming into lap traffic, the girls are running 1, 2, 3. Let me run it down for you. Position 1, Harper Thomas. Position 2, Piper Johnson. Position 3, Kayla Fisher. Position 4 is James Petway Jr. Position 5, James Petway Sr. Mario Gosler. Position 6, Cornelius Gulliver moved up to 7. Marisha Thompson moved up to 8. Sharita Miller, position 9. Rachel Becker, position 10. 11th is number 40, Ronnie Kellogg. 12th, that's Ron Kellogg. 12th, 90, Tim Spulon. 13th, 77, Crystal Hennington, but that was as of the last 10-lap completed mark. She is in the pit road. She is still on the pit road, and we're being told that Crystal Hennington has apparently a problem under the engine. The cowling has come off. Crystal Hennington is sitting on pit road with what appears to be a very, very difficult time on the field. So what we're watching as we've hit the 60 lap mark is these guys just kind of loafing around the racetrack and just looking at the position. Harper Thomas, made a bonsai move earlier. Man, I tell you what, if they weren't touching, I don't know how going into turn number 1, but that is, of course, the way that goes. The car's going into there and pretty much running smooth lines. There is some lap traffic behind her, or in front of her now too. Zachary McClellan has just gone a lap down. He's taken over the 80 car. Crystal, and we're starting to look at some of the cars that will be doing swap outs. Dietrich Wambach is taking over the 87 car. Aurelio Perez is taking over the 98 car. Ricardo Sanchez taking over the 94 car. But Crystal Hennington isn't going to be getting in there. We do have a car pulling into the pit road. And now it's time for pit stops, even for the drivers who have elected not to change drivers. And Harper Thomas is in. The crew goes to work. They're changing the left side tires now. They put the right side tires on. They're putting the fuel in. Out in 7, a spark flying in the back of the car, but she's still down and away in 8.3 seconds. Boy, that is a fast pit stop by the Harper Thomas crew. Piper Johnson has also come in, and she's in and out. Kayla Fisher may be having a bit of a problem. It looks like the problem was getting the last tire on. They didn't get the lug nut tightened on the right-hand side, so they're going to work on that. Looks like Kayla Fisher is out. Her pit stop in 10.764 seconds. But we do have a car stalled on pit road. It appears to be the 80. It appears to be, and thank you very much, Haley, for passing the note on. It is James Petway Sr., and this is a guy who was looking to win. Not only was his tire blistered, but there is smoke coming out of the back of the exhaust of the 37 cars. So 37, James Petway Sr., and he's climbing out of the car, and James Petway Sr. is out of the competition. Just as his car smoked, they got the flames extinguished, but boy, oh boy, 70 laps go up on the board, and he's not a happy camper right now. You know, one of the things, let's talk a little bit about these 3 girls right now in the top 3 who are just absolutely dominating in the class of the field right now. Who's that? We have a car having issues. I believe it is Petway Jr. Is it Petway Jr.? Yes, Petway Jr. And by the way, a change of leader, because as lap traffic was getting in the way, Piper Johnson made a kind of a sideways move on Harper Thomas. Thomas didn't quite see her coming, and now Piper, at about a 4-car length advantage, has now befallen Piper Johnson to take the pass up into turn number 1. Johnson, Piper and Harper neck and neck. They're going to go into turn number 3, and they've got a lap car going on them 3 wide into turn number 3, and guess what? Guess what? Thomas back in the lead, but boy, she's not done yet. She's pulling it back down the main straightaway, headed back into turn number 1. Piper Johnson pulls up on the inside a little at passing her, and she's pulling up and she's passing. She's got it. Turn 2, and that's right where you make that pass. And there was a collision. Nope, it looks like, and we've got a problem. We got a problem on the race course. It looks like Piper Thomas may have crashed into the outside, Harper Thomas. And it looks like the caution flag has just been thrown as Harper Thomas, after a half spin that nearly happened right in front of about 4 lapped cars. So Piper Johnson, and it took out took out Petway Jr., who just came off of pit road. So James Petway Jr., he is out of the car, and boy, he is not happy. And he's out of the car. Piper Johnson takes over the lead, but Harper Thomas certainly, that's not the way. That's not the way that both drivers in the accident. Okay, as per usual, they got out of the car. The safety restraints on these cars are definitely amazing. I mean, both cars have been definitely damaged in the accident. I've got debris going all the way from the apex of turn 1 across the all the way to turn 3 because of the several other cars hit it. And now we've got a report that Hennington, another car ran over debris, and it appears to be Dietrich Wambach, who just took over in the 88 car. Did I say no? Correction, in the 87 car, Dietrich Wambach, and that car is. But what they're doing, they're going to bring the cars down for about 5 or so minutes, the cars, they got the flames out, and now the cars are going down the pit road. They're going to bring the red flag out for a short second. They're going to bring out the red flag, and that's actually probably a very appropriate move so they can get that debris up there. The Air Titans are coming on the track now to get that taken care of. Boy, that's just a disheartening turn of events for James Petway Jr., who, by the way, and they got to... And I mean, both drivers looking at each other. And Harper Thomas, I mean, just the class act, walked up to Petway Jr. and said, and we heard from our pit spotter, Jim Haley Turney, who said that yes, the they were, just gave each other a hug. They both apologized to each other because it was a racing accident. They rubbed each other's fenders, and just it came real close. So that rear tire on one end got the front tire of the other, and just sent one careening into the outside wall. They got locked together. Both cars locked. Now, Kayla Fisher, this is going to be an interesting restart because Kayla Fisher, who, by the way, just for the record, this is her first start. We've already run about 4 races. The track has been cleared, so now the cars are going to come back and run 3 laps under yellow. We do have a couple of cars making pit stops to change flat spotted tires. Yep, and we're being told, as a matter of fact, race control just passed it down that it is going to be 4 laps. So they are running very slowly. Caution speed is 30, in case anybody's curious, is 35 miles an hour here. So that means they're going to be running, and of course at race speed, they're running close to 166 miles an hour. So that's why the laps click off really quick. We do have 80 laps complete, and here's what we have for the... And they're not quite under... They're still under caution yet. They're headed for turn number 3. Lap number 2 of 4. Now they're going to be headed down towards turn 4. Let's give you a top 10 real quick while we have it. Piper Johnson has got the lead. Kayla Fisher second. Jennifer Pratt third. Cornelius Culliver, as a result of all of this mess, has moved up to 4th. Marisha Thompson 5th. She has not changed drivers, by the way, elected not to. Sharita Miller, who's also not changed drivers, is 6th. Michelle Baker is 7th. Stan Hamilton is 8th. And 9th place belongs to Tyler Wilcox, and 10th place belongs to Jason Wheeler. So that is the due to several driver changes. Those are the guys that have changed, and that's just, with the lap cars, I think that's going to be the case. And looks like they wanted to pull ahead when they started, so they're going to wave off the green flag. And re-rack them again. It looks like Johnson, it looks like number 8, Piper Johnson, got just the person in 8th place, and that would belong to, so yep, 8th position, has been told by race control, either start in line with the rest of them or be moved to the back of the pack by race control. So now the cars are in turn 3. They're lining up in their 2x2 double file restart as they always do when they get ready to get going. Headed into turn number 4, and the field accelerating, and a big jump by Piper Johnson, but Kayla Fisher's on the back bumper. Cornelius Culliver trying to take the move down at 4 wide. Culliver goes into 3rd. Oh, how about it? Fisher pushed ahead by about a car length. In the meantime, not going to happen. It looks like Johnson. Oh no, Johnson's getting an earful. And here they come. Oh, the position as Fisher and Johnson are taking it side by side. They're tied. They are not able to move it. Fisher by 2 car lengths now headed back into turn number 4. It looks like, or 3 rather. Here comes Piper Johnson now coming out of turn number 4. Will she pass Kayla Fisher this time? By the answer is she got her going into the corner. How do you like me now? Piper Johnson just pulled up. Kayla Fisher is just being walked up in positions. 4 and 5 getting locked up in a pretty fierce battle as 86 or 85 laps rather completed now. And looks like taking over the 8th place is going to be Looks like the 10th place car is trying to pull up a move. Cornelius Culliver, by the way, jumped to 3rd position. Well, we're going to have to watch him. Sharita Miller has moved to 4th, and Sharita Miller has caught up in that 4th position on Culliver. But boy, we got 3. Oh boy, 3 wide. 3 wide going into turn number 3. How about Culliver, who just literally got dogpiled into turn number 3 by the 76 car of Sharita Miller. If they don't slow, boy, somebody doesn't give room, they're going to crash. They're going to go to turn number 2 side by side. They're going 3 wide at turn 3. And turn 3 is where they're going to head now. Turn 4, the narrower portion. Here they made it through the turn. They're coming back around. Oh, that was close. Let me tell you something. Cornelius Culliver, who made Cornelius Culliver, no, in fact, Cornelius Culliver is still stuck in the 4th position. Why? Because Sharita Miller, Marisha Thompson, is in the 4th position trying to make a move on Culliver. Got around Culliver, got around him. So now we got and now they're all locked together. And how about it? Going into turn number 2, they almost touched. They almost touched going into turn number. In fact, I am not convinced that the right rear of Marisha Thompson did not clip the left front, but she pulls ahead by 3 car lengths in that battle. So that ongoing battle for 3rd position, it's looking pretty close up here. We're looking we're looking at Spulak, who also came in just now. And now we got a car that's actually having a problem on the racetrack, who's going to be pulling into the garage area. It looks like that car is... Okay, that car is Jason Hamilton. Hamilton is pulling into pit road. Jennifer Pratt is also pulling into pit road because she's having a problem on her car. It looks like the left front has gone away, and according to what we're being told, the engine has expired on Jennifer Pratt's car, so she's going to be out of the race. There would have been the spin luckily was on pit road, but they got to watch it. They've got the debris swept up. The good news is nobody else is coming into pit road. Piper Johnson, boy, she just keeps on making a move. I'll tell you what impresses me, girls, as they've been spotting for me, is looking at Piper Johnson. Okay, Kayla Fisher has passed her at least. She almost spun. Well, almost. She saved it. But what impresses me, and now she's got the car going and is right, and that's good considering she's about to pull up on some back markers. She's actually already toward turn 4. But here's the deal. Fisher has passed her at least 6 times since this restart. Piper Johnson has come back, and usually most drivers, when they pass, they usually just let them go and they say, all right, well, you're pretty well gone, and that's it. But they were neck and neck, and then Johnson grabbed Kayla Fisher, may have taken the lead. Nope. Timing and score. Well, that's what timing and scoring is showing, is that Kayla Fisher's got the lead. However, on the racetrack, according to Jim Jackson, our spotter in turn 3, he said that it appears to him that Piper Johnson is still ahead. So I mean, they're very close. In fact, Johnson still has the lead, and now they're running into the back markers again. But let's talk a little bit about the tenacity of these 4. You know, Marisha Thompson and Sharita Miller have been drivers that have actually made very, very close moves. Thompson is, trying to pass, actually. But is it, or we thought, till she went into pit road. Now we got a problem. The same Marisha Thompson, we just started talking about her, and she's on pit road for a cut-down tire. Boy, this is just heartbreak. But let's look at Piper Johnson for just a second. You know, she came into this thing a new starter. You know, and never running it on these tracks before, especially a short track. I mean, this is very similar it's a short track in the fact that the distance of the track, you know, a mile long track, but it's also a wide track. So you have 80 feet wide going into turns 1 and 2. You got 70 feet in 3 and 4. The thing that's really impressed me is how many times she's been able to just pass people for position and not even really have to worry about anybody, you know, draining her car. I mean, it's just been amazing watching this. And the two Pentways are out of the race, I'm being told by our and they don't have a replacement car, which is, well, they do have a replacement car, but that car has to be preserved for the road course invite in Minnetonka, Nebraska that's coming up in 3 weeks. So they've got to be on that. But they will not be racing next week in the Valleys Run 400, which is only a, you know, I don't know, maybe a 100 lap more event that they've got to run. In the meantime, we're looking at cars that, you know, let's just be honest. If Thompson pulls this off, if Miller and Fisher and Miller pull this off, Johnson. Oh yes, Fisher and Johnson kind of. Boy, that sounds like a law firm, Fisher and Johnson right now. They're just kind of going side by side, really going through the corner, but that's because lap traffic is sort of getting in the way. But guess what? PJ, like she always does, keeps on pushing the pedal to the metal, and it just doesn't seem like Fisher can really get around her now, because now that she's gotten ahead of the... Except for the fact that we've got we nearly had a spin, and would you believe who it was? It would have been Stephen Mahoney. His car was almost at a 45-degree angle, but he got it gathered back in. He's lucky he didn't cause a caution. Race control has ordered, by the way, him to come down pit road because he was running a lot slower. To give you an idea of the current lap speeds, as we've got 98 of 300 complete. Boy, these laps go by in a hurry. Turning a lap at 167.623 was Piper Johnson. Turning a lap at 147.818 was Stephen Mahoney at the very back of the field. Boy, that is just big time disparity, 20 miles an hour off the pace, and that's not something race control wants to see, especially at these kind of speeds with this much traffic on the track. So it's certainly something in the heat races they might have been somewhat more lenient, particularly with only 16 cars per event. But with this kind of racing at this kind of speed, well, they really want to watch it and just make sure nothing comes out of that, and I think it's all in the interest of safety. But Piper Johnson, who's now pulling ahead to a 1.6-second advantage over Kayla Fisher, and she has about the same over Sharita Miller. And we've got a battle for 10th, I believe, and the 10th place position that looks like is, who do we have there? Looks like Shaylin Anderson. And it looks like the car of Ezi Nahara. That is in the 10th position. Ezi Nahara. And that's because a lot of drivers swapped there, so Ezi Nahara takes over that car and for Hamilton. But we've also got, and that was Jason Hamilton's ride earlier, a lot of drivers have swapped out so far. Boy, one of the things I'll tell you at this particular point, watching this so far unfold as we have now completed 100 and some odd laps, is there's now a gap between the third place car, which is wrapped around lap traffic, and the fourth place car that is literally getting swamped with lap traffic. We almost had a, or do we? Let's look. Yep, pit road is, they're telling everybody pit road is closed, but the caution hasn't come out yet. I assume because the accident itself was on the pit road. 3 cars were coming in at the same time, and they were trying to exit at the same time. Luckily, nobody's coming in on the pit road. They're not in their pit windows, but we're looking at cars going in really, really close. What's being said about the race cars? Well, I'll tell you what, most of them are saying that their cars running kind of, a little bit on the free side, and it's, it's kind of showing. I think that we almost had a spin. I'll tell you what, let's look at this top 10 as we have it right now before we get too concerned about it looks like everybody's okay on the pit road, just a bad move on the pits. So it looks like Ezingahara is involved in that incident down on pit road. But let's go into the top 10 so far as what we have right now. In the lead position right now is Piper Johnson. Taylor Fisher runs second. Sharita Miller third. Marisha Thompson fourth, despite a scary incident down on pit road earlier. Fifth place is Cornelius Culliver. Boy, I don't know how he's managed to pull that one off. In sixth place, he's preceded by Ron Kellogg. Seventh place, Zach McClellan. Eighth place, Rachel Becker. Ninth place, Sarah Foote. And 10th place is Gatera Caro. That is the rundown. And by the way, she is the first car a lap down, as we've already had a couple of long green flag runs, and we just continue to be impressed with Piper Johnson, who has just pulled out to a commanding lead right now. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, her car is, if I'm not mistaken, I think now let's look at the stopwatch here. Piper Johnson came by. You can read a real short story. The end, here's Kayla Fisher. Wow. That is 2.334 seconds. So that's, but that lead is stabilized going around the track. So you kind of wonder if Fisher's just not saying, listen, I know you have the better car, so we'll let you hang out in front. But you can bet with 50 laps to go, they're going to be holding each other's pocketbooks by the time it's all over with. She's slightly catching up. The interval last time by was about 1.843 seconds, but that's about all. The gap in the position between first and second. PJ's having engine troubles, we're being told, and it could be, or is that her? No, actually, that's her identical car. That's the identical car to her. That's number 97, and that car belongs to, that car is now being driven by Alyssa Thompson. And Alyssa Thompson, another, not related to Marisha Thompson, Alyssa Thompson has apparently taken her car behind the wall because that engine just went completely south. We're looking at Piper Johnson. Harper Thomas, by the way, said that the reason her car went out, engine troubles. Boy, plus the tire blister. Well, the tire blisters, they had extra sets of tires, but the biggest issue was the engine. It looks like that they lost the cam timing chain on their, and as well, there was oil, there was green smoke coming out of the back, and that's usually oil, so bye-bye engine. They luckily have a spare. In case anybody wonders, they will not be running these normally aspirated engines next week for the 400-mile event. They're going to be running a V6 twin turbo next week for the event for the 400-miler. So, I mean, we unfortunately will not be here for that event. However, we'll keep you posted on the results on other platforms. So please keep advised of that as you will. Looking at how this is going so far, we've already got 130 laps complete. These guys are moving by pretty quick. One of the question marks going into this event was new drivers, new events. What was that going to do for the field? So far, I think we've gotten our answer. And we got three cars that just got together. Stephen Mahoney, it looks like, was one of them. Nahara, or correction, not Mahara, but Johnson was the other, and Valencia was the third. And now the caution flag has just come out, and that was not as serious. That wasn't as serious as what we thought it was. There was a brief, but a lot of the smoke you get after these accidents is usually from the tires as they spin them out trying to collect it. But I think that unfortunately caused some concern. So the caution flag has certainly come out on an R3 cars are all in the garage area. They're going to be out of the race. It looks like Mahoney is not a happy camper, but it has nothing to do with the drivers. Something snapped, and we're looking at a replay, and it looks like when he went into turn number 3, he was absolutely just being bull rushed. But the incident itself happened because the tire, one of the tires popped loose on it was his left front tire popped loose on his car. Never seen that before. And it burst, and as soon as that happened, his car swapped ends, and he crashed pretty good into that retaining wall, and two cars crashed. We're going to take about a 30-second pause here on the YouTube channel. There will be dead air for about 30 seconds. We'll come back and let you know what's going on. And this is exclusive coverage of the Race to Home 300. Welcome back to the event and coverage here. We are, of course, under the caution flag. The caution flag that is out right now is due to, of course, a 3-car accident down here with Stephen Mahoney, Ezzy Nahara, Jay Hamilton. Here is, and we're being told that the debris has been picked up off the...
Living room. Who knows other than Brandon wants a soda? Alexa, announce a monster, please.
So we're going to go and look at the...
Alexa, announce a monster for Jess, please. Announcing on...
We're going to look at the restart here.
For bedroom. A monster purchase, please.
And here they come. The green's out, and boy, a couple of cars didn't get off to a good start, but Kayla Fisher and Piper Johnson did. Johnson still makes a move. They're side by side in turn 3. Johnson with the lead. Not for long. Here comes Kayla Fisher. Boy, that's going to be a close battle. I told you, every time they restart, they just go side by side. Piper Thomas with the lead there. 4 wide going into turn 2. 4 wide. How do you make it work in turn 2? 80 feet of space. But these cars, boy, any position they can get on the restart's very important, very critical. And that's exactly the way this is going for them right now. They're itching to make some very, very close moves. And that is exactly how that works. It looks like Piper Johnson just is going to have her hands full. But look who's past Kayla Fisher. It's Sharita Miller, who just passed Kayla Fisher. but Marisha Thompson on her heels, but unfortunately that's not going to last long. Kayla Fisher just got back into second place, and here comes Marisha Thompson on the inside trying to pass Serena Miller going into turn number 2. And she does. She's going to make the move, headed back into turn number 2. Now they're going to go down the back straight toward turn number 3. It's Marisha Thompson that's now trying to look on the heels of Sharita Miller. Now Miller tries it again in the corner and actually does not manage to pass Thompson. Thompson now goes back and now instead tries it on the main straightaway. Does Miller, and Miller will get the pass made again. So Sharita Miller right where she's been for the last several laps in third place. But in the meantime, Kayla Fisher has actually made a pass 3 different times. Now going into turn number 3, she's passed Piper Johnson, but meanwhile, and she's in the lead, but not for long. Here comes Piper Johnson, and again, Johnson just can't see it, and she takes it over. Boy, it's amazing. They go to turn 3, and Fisher will pass her, but then they go back to the main straightaway, and then it just goes right back and forth. It's a seesaw pattern going on right now. Neck and neck going into turn number 3. Once again, Fisher has it. Going to the inside, getting cut off by Fisher is Johnson, but not for long. They come down to that main straightaway. They're just close, and they're closing in on each other. Boy, the lap cars are just, that were earlier in the back. They're all the way to the back. Thankfully, they're not getting whiffed by all this. That's for sure. Headed to turn number 3. It looks like Thomas and Johnson, certainly the biggest move, to be quite honest with you, that I'm looking at now. And would you believe Cornelius Gulliver just picked off the 4th position from Ron Kellogg? So Kellogg has been pushed back to the 4th position or 5th position, while Gulliver has his hands full trying to get around. Gulliver trying to make the move on the inside. Now we're going to look at the entrance to the corner. It appears. Well, we got a gaggle of cars that are trying to make it 3 wide. They're not doing it though. Here's we got a lot of people taking positions, but the one thing that's a consistent. No more passes for the lead, because guess what? Piper Johnson said, sorry, but KF, you're not going to... She's at least 3 car lengths in front of Kayla Fisher. Boy, this is, one of the things, and we'll have to, one of these times we'll have more equipment, and we'll get Jess on the horn with this, but, if you're Piper Johnson and you're trying to take positions and you're trying to take over that position, you're really asking a lot of questions. One of which is, how in the world is it that pass for position just isn't working out? Every time they go to the corner, there seems to be quite a luxurious move being made, and it just seems to it just seems to be that no matter what happens, it's no holds barred, and we've got and here's the 1 second, folks. We're going to take a 30-second pause. On the local front, not part of our coverage. We just had a small incident here involving a liquid. Boy, everybody got so happy with the passes for the lead. The sodas took it out on us, and so cleaning up some messes here. Reaching up, trying to hand a towel here to somebody. Leslie's got it. Good deal. Looks like the biggest concern that I've got now on this situation on the track is there appears, for some reason, to be a problem on board the Marisha Thompson, correction, the Sharita Miller car, but it is not with anything of the mechanics of the car. It's a radio problem. She says she cannot hear her crew, and we're going to let, I'm going to pass the microphone real quick to Jess. I'm going to let her comment on this just rookie phenom in Piper Johnson, because boy, she cannot be headed every time Kayla Fisher has managed to try to pull up and pass going into turn number 3. We thought we had, and it spins on pit road. Boy, pit road's been a treacherous place, but talk if you can about what's impressed you about Piper Johnson.
Okay. Those two are obviously never know. But she said to me that God has that's what I was trying to, I got my son she wanted to do this, to do that kind of race, so she wanted to listen to me too, so she said she would have to that. Back to them.
Well, the thing that also adds to what you just said is, she wanted to go out and be the rabbit when she came out of the gate. The one that impressed us, though, Harper Thomas starting 30th position on the field. Whoa. Harper Thomas starting 30th. Goes for the lead, takes it, builds a commanding lead for a while, and then has a problem. And there we go. Anyway, builds a commanding lead, and then seconds later just has a problem with the engine. Not usually the way that you want to spend your afternoon, but we are told by the crew that the engine test and that the engine was going to go bad. So that's one of the pitfalls, I suppose, of a situation like that where they weren't ready on the situation surrounding the engine at this particular junction. So they also had an oil leak, so that probably factors in. And race control has informed us, with us already getting close to lap 200, pit stops have also been made and no driver changes on this end for this round of pit stops. They said no more driver changes except for on the last pit stop, the money stop at lap 263 that they're expecting. And that'll be just a splash and go of fuel as well as changing drivers. So splash of fuel and get the drivers switched out. We've already got of those driver changes take a while. I'm told there may be a caution. So, you know, with us getting close to lap 200, as a matter of fact, we are at lap 200 now. And yeah, a lot of our pit reporters that are watching from field level have said that the pits are getting filled up with drivers having tire blisters and having to change tires. Not surprising, boy, that's been one of the biggest pitfalls. And we do have what looks like a really good battle shaping up for third position as Marisha Thompson comes up to challenge, Sharita Miller comes up to challenge Sharita Miller. Pit road is closed because of a spin, and a couple of tires are locked. They want to get the car moved, but in the meantime, on the racetrack, it's looking really, really cold. And here they come, 203 laps or 204 laps. Yeah, 203 complete right now. The battle is with Sharita Miller and Marisha Thompson. Boy, those two have been going side by side for the past 14 laps, and they just cannot seem to now make it 15 laps. And Sharita is taken, not only did a double pass, a twofer, because Kayla Fisher got hung up behind lap traffic, but Kayla Fisher's not done yet. Going into turn number 4, past their side-by-side. Fisher tries it again and will pass Miller, so Sharita Miller not able to get completely away from that position, but she is still, they are wheel to wheel. And boy, with these stock cars, you really cannot go wheel to wheel too often, but they're making it happen, and they're doing it in style. And boy, they're going to come real close together and almost crash into each other. But guess what? They're hanging on. They're hanging on. You know, black flag and it's actually not on Miller. That black flag, the black flag is actually on the 89 car, and that's going to be Ron Kellogg because his car has been belching smoke for the past 4 laps, and apparently race control has been watching it, and his crew had not called him into pit road, but that may cost Ron Kellogg an opportunity to win here. His car is going, and they're going to make the left-hand turn into the garage area. So it looks like Ron Kellogg is not going to be able to make the pass, or make the win, rather. Cornelius Culliver, therefore, gets shoved into 4th position. Jennifer Pratt, who we already mentioned, is out of the race. And matter of fact, all the attrition has put Ron Kellogg into the 18th position out of 30. Correction, 28th position. Not a lot of cars have fallen out, but and boy, they got so close. I'm telling you, and I'm telling you what else is happening is that Piper Johnson is not getting away from Kayla Fisher. Those 2 cars have been, at least 6 car lengths apart. And we got a caution flag. It looks like the very same Kellogg. He tried to come back out on the track, and he has managed to bump the inside wall with literally 210 laps complete. That means, by the way, that we have 90 laps remaining in this really high-speed event that has taken place today. Boy, they've just been absolutely incredible. I think this is our 4th, what is this, our 3rd caution flag of the event, and it was Ron Kellogg who just with another car. We cannot yet tell who it was, but both cars are off the track. They were able to continue on, but they ended up down pit road. And let's see, it was Girardi. So Girardi's car made contact with Ron Kellogg. Boy, that's going to be a tough break. So Girardi's car is smoking. He's turned to the garage area. We thought that Ron Kellogg was going to be in the garage, but he was for about a couple laps, and he came back out. So I guess whatever the problem was, it was not serious enough to keep him in the garage. They figured it was probably a battery problem. But they're garaging both cars, and so that's how that's going as we speak. All right, folks, the field is getting ready to come off of turn 4. Culliver is one of the cars they're going to be setting up. The debris has already been picked up, so at 213 laps, they're going to put the green flag back out. Piper Johnson, Kayla Fisher, all of these drivers going to go side by side. The field is underway. And again, at 200 working lap 214, boy, it's a close event. They were 4 wide going into turn number 2, headed to turn 3 now. Piper Johnson, Kayla Fisher. Again, this is the classic Johnson-Fisher battle. Fisher takes it into turn 3, passes, gets the lead. Turn 4, comes back down the main straightaway, gets ready to pass. Here's Johnson, side by side. Once again, headed back into turn number 1. Johnson takes the lead again, but Fisher roars it again, back on the inside. Here comes Miller, and we're gonna pause for just a moment. We'll have to come back and let you know with regard to the action. I have an important call to make, and I will be right back, folks. Back as we're back in the pits. Of course, while we were away, Kayla Fisher made a bold pass, but that's not going to look good for Piper Johnson as they've got 220 laps complete. The field right now, Piper Johnson is certainly looking pretty good at the steering at the back end of it. We're watching. Here comes the field, by the way. By the way, FYI, for those who don't know, while we're watching this ongoing battle, looks like Alicia Thompson has made a bold pass on Sharita Miller, but that's not going to last long. Sharita Miller has just turned around and came back on the inside, but let's talk one moment about the I Support Nebraska car being driven by Piper Johnson. Nebraska men's basketball, in their first attempt to win an NCAA tournament game yesterday for this season, has done so in the men's basketball side by beating Troy. Now they will be playing Vanderbilt. The women's team is playing Baylor as we speak. So that's the way that's going. Piper Johnson's got the race lead, by the way. Just a powerful move going to the inside. Piper Johnson did, and Kayla Fisher was just sitting there going, oh my goodness, why didn't I think of that? That's just all she can say at this point. And she almost got knocked into the wall. Why? Because her car almost washed up the racetrack. So luckily she was able to save that. And that and cars passing on either direction. Boy, it's been feast or famine in the past past 4 races. The car that was trying to pass her was Sharita Miller, but that didn't work out so well because when they got close to each other, they almost rim-rode each other. Lap traffic is already starting to kick in. Sharita Miller almost got black flag, but race control told her to stay behind for a lap. Now she's going to work on Kayla Fisher, and she does. Tries to go to the inside. Cars get close. Kayla Fisher is actually make the move. And what we're watching, this is lap number 230. Boy, you know, the first 3 or 4 cars, it's been an absolute hornet's nest for these positions. And I'll tell you what's really surprised me is, you know, Piper Johnson, whose record here has been impeccable in her dirt track experience, her dirt bike racing experience. Yes, she's raced dirt bikes as well, and you know, she's got a big head on her shoulder. Tall and very flexible. Standing at probably the tallest driver in the field at 6'3", and that is you know, that's somebody you don't want to tangle with in a dark alley during a match of Mortal Kombat. Let me tell you that straight up off the bat. But in the meantime, Sharita Miller is trying to move on Kayla Fisher. That's not going to work. Fisher wants to make the pass, but is not going to get there. In fact, what happens instead, it looks like a little bull rush going into the corner. Fisher tries it again, going into turn number 3. The move that gets made, it's a close one. Here's Culliver trying to, and oh boy, did Culliver try to pass Thompson or what, but almost couldn't make it going into the corner. We do want to tell you a couple of driver replacements in the 10th, 11th, and 12th position. Ashton McGuire, Afton Holden, and Karna Hewins. Samantha Simmons on the next, and in the 5th position, in the 5th car that was changed during an electric change earlier, was Brent Bankhauser. And so that is the change made here. It looks like Bankhauser, speaking of that, has had a problem on the track and is trying to avoid running another car. He's managed to take it down pit road. As what we're looking at here is a battle now for the 4th position. It appears that battle is going to continue on the racetrack with the battle for 4th as Culliver is attempting to try to pass correction. He's going to try to go for 3rd on Sharita Miller. That's not going to work, but here comes Marisha Thompson trying to pull back to his inside, and Marisha Thompson almost touches tires with Culliver going into the 2nd turn, and that went all for naught because now and Culliver just tried to push Thompson into the wall, but that's going to get him a black flag if he's not careful. Again, race control, and it did, according to race control. So Cornelius Culliver is now receiving the black flag and going to be given a pass through. No, they're going to tell him it's a stop and go. They're going to hold him for a lap for avoidable contact as he went into turn number 2 and nearly put Thompson into the wall. So that just ended Cornelius Culliver's opportunity to win this race. In the meantime, Marisha Thompson is trying to make a move on Sharita Miller that may, in fact, work going into turn number 3. They're side by side. Miller on the inside, Thompson on the outside. Thompson tries to make a move into turn 3, or 4 rather, main straightaway. Does make the move into turn 1, just slowly eases the car into the corner. Now dives back down low, tries to avoid the move by Miller, but Miller pulls it on the outside. Miller figures the outside is the preferred route, so now she's going to push her car to the outside, makes the pass, going into turn number 2, back off of turn number 2, down into turn number 3, down past turn number 3 to 4. Miller again tries to move on the low side. Now it's not going to work. Meanwhile, diving back up high is Kayla Fisher, trying to pass Harper. Trying to pass Piper Johnson, and that's not going to work. Piper Johnson tries it again, but lap traffic right there behind them. But boy, they're doing so good trying to maintain all of this. And here comes a hard-charging Kayla Fisher trying to pass with all the lap cars around them. They almost went 3 wide, but they're going to avoid it here. We are headed towards lap number 240. That means, folks, we are 23 laps away from the last round of pit stops. And if anybody's going to change, I am told the front 4 cars are not changing. Guess who's in 4th position, folks? Jumping all the way to 4th through all of that exchange earlier and several cars being called into the pits is, would you believe, Samantha Simmons went with let's just say I have a personal connection with some of these people, so I hope you guys are having fun listening. By the way, disclaimer for anybody joining the live, the following event is a fictional event, is not occurring in real time. I want to remind you the description indicates, please read description as you join the channel. Comments are to be directed to kc0usm@gmail.com, or if you wish to establish a personal connection with me on Facebook, just look up my name, Brandon Hennis, and that should be easy find for you. And you can do that. Of course, the channel is called Blinded by Brandon. That's how you can find me. We're, of course, today bringing you some fun, exciting, wonderful, high-speed action. And we're going to keep doing it. Keep doing it until the action is done. Right now, lap number 246. Simmons is making a real low move at the inside. And I say low, her car just got really low and almost clipped the wall. Her car started smoking, but then again, she pulled it back off the racetrack onto the pit road. So we'll see how that goes here momentarily. What we're looking at right now, Simmons makes a pass. Cars are going side by side. I'm looking at a really close battle, very close proximity. Here they go into the 3rd corner. Piper Johnson, I should say. Boy, getting the 2 mixed up. Piper Johnson and Marisha Thompson are 2 drivers who are really, really wanting to win. Not to take anything away, of course, from Miller or Fisher, but Miller, said if she had to pick, she would have picked either of those drivers to win. If she was sitting on the sideline, of course, she's as hungry as everybody else for a victory as we speak. We got a car that is actually losing some balance. We got a vibration being reported on the Sharita Miller car. It looks like her car was, the tire was sort of vibrating. They said keep an eye on it going into turn 3 and 4. It only seems to happen in the corners. Down the straightaways, it's fine. In the corners, there seems to be a bit of a vibration. We're going to keep it tapped. We're going to keep tabs on that. What do we got now? We got they're asking her to go into the pit. In fact, her crew is calling her into the pit road. But then again, so are all the other cars. They're going to pit early. I guess they want to get the money stop out of the way. Nobody's swapping on the front 4, Sharita Miller included. 4 tires and fuel for each of those 4 cars. They're out of the way right now as the pit cycles are going on. That's putting Samantha Simmons and Carmen Hewins into the lead, with Ashley Holden 3rd and Britt Thakauser 4th. And Katara Carroll in 5th. Now remember, Katara Carroll was all the way back in 17th place earlier, and she's moving. And as a matter of fact, her pit window, she just came in and reeled off for a splash and go, because she was not changing drivers either. on her car. She reeled off a 6-second pit stop. Wow. You'd think with the pit window that they would have had more time. They'd had to, but a 6-second stop at these kind of speeds is just incredible. So that could be the difference maker. Mills is also in the pit road. She's got problems on her end too. Mel Foster, Jay Davison, and she's having some problems too. Jay Davison is on the racetrack. Foster's car is smoking really bad. Her tire blew and she almost crashed into the wall. Luckily, it was right on the pit access road. She gets it fired up and then takes off. But that could have been a close accident here. We've got 262 laps complete. 262. Now 263. What does that mean, folks? We're in the final 37 laps. Culliver, and who do we got for the driver replacing Culliver's? Mia Shane going into a newbie also. Mia Shane replacing Cornelius Culliver, but she's going to have to come from the back of the pack because she is still, because of that mistake by Culliver on Marisha Thompson. Boy, that's when you jump into a car to relief drive, but she's taken 2 spots. But luckily, the only problem with when you pit under green here is you lose 2 laps. So if the pit window cycles, she'll be back in 11th position. We do know that we've got several replacement drivers to tell you about. Candy Burton. Candy Burton is one. Morrison is number 2. We've got, let's see here. Their timing and scoring is not showing us the 3rd car. Okay. Fiona Figori, and it appears to be Elliot Franconi, and that's the other car that we're watching too. Elliot Franconi, who just got back from a 2-race suspension. Of course, he used to drive full-time in the series. In some of these races, the drivers won't be doing a lot of driver changes. Now, the one race we're going to be watching is a long New York rally. That race, there won't be no sports changes, but that will be a very long broadcast. We're going to start with coverage at 10:30, and then we're going to start coverage at 8:30 Central. That's 9:30 Eastern, and the event itself will start at 11 o'clock Eastern time. And so and on the road course, that's going to actually be a 75-lap affair with on a long 4.6-mile road course. So we're going to, boy, that's going to be a long race for these drivers, but endurance indeed. Of course, it's the same. Correct. And they'll be driving some normally aspirated V8, high-powered, high-octane, high RPM cars. We're at lap number 276. And I just want to inform you what's going on right now, because Piper Johnson is still in the lead, but Kayla Fisher has been stalking her for the last 2 or 3 laps. And what I'm watching right now is what appears to be with now 23 laps remaining, is she's basically pushing the envelope as hard as she can. Piper Johnson makes her move into the corner, but Fisher now tries it. Fisher is pulling up on the rear bumper, and we're going to start having a battle for the lead. It looks like Piper Johnson has tried everything she can to avoid Kayla Fisher. It's not going to work. As they head into the corner, her team has warned her, be careful, don't flat spot the tires, don't do anything too crazy because it could easily, and don't get too far over the edge. But you know, if we know anything about Piper Johnson, that's like telling a kindergartner to avoid playing dice with an eighth grader. It's just not going to work. It's the kindergartner is going to learn how to play that dice game, and that's exactly what Piper Johnson's doing. It's like she's playing a chess match with Kayla Fisher. She's trying to, Fisher's feeling out what Johnson's doing in traffic, and then trying to see if she can mirror it. But what's happening now is that Fisher is on the back bumper of Johnson as they get to lap number 280, now from 281, that is, so 19 remaining. And what's happening as they go to turn number 2? Well, Fisher tries to make a move and almost passes going into turn 3. Now they're headed down the chute into turn 4. Turn 4 it is, back down the main straightaway. Piper Johnson holding on, barely. She's almost shows the bumper to Kayla Fisher, but that's not going to work because Fisher goes on the outside, on the extreme outside, makes a pass, and Piper Johnson, all she could do is watch Fisher just blow past her, but not for long. She's not done yet. Here she goes down to the inside, again back in turn 3, and here's Johnson to make the pass. Johnson goes into turn number 3, or correction 4, down the main straightaway, passes again. Johnson almost made a move to push her into the wall, but backed off, thought better of it. They're going to the inside, both of them. Meanwhile, now popping to the outside is Kayla Fisher. She changes her mind, knows she can't make the pass in 3 right now. She just lost too much momentum, and that dirty air is disrupting the race car. That usually happens in lap traffic as they come down to the line now. They're literally looking at the back end of 15 laps to go. This is turning into a barn burner. Fisher goes to the inside. Now they're side by side, and Fisher makes the pass again, but she's not done yet. Here she goes down to the corner, trying to make a move. It's looking real close. Fisher tries to make a pass. It's going to go side by side, makes a pass, going into the corner, and she's going to try it again. But now Johnson again pulls up on the inside. Boy, she's not letting go. She's trying it on the inside. It's a real close battle for position. They're getting side by side. Fisher and Johnson. In fact, they are just still side by side to turn 3. Fisher on the inside, Johnson on the outside. Which lane's going to prevail? The inside lane prevails because Fisher makes the move. Now she drifts to the outside and watch it. And here's Piper Johnson not able to pull up just yet as they head to turn 2, but they're going down the back straightaway into turn number 3 with 8 laps remaining. Here they come. Johnson tries it again. Almost makes the move down into turn 1, but she's pulling, she's holding, she's side by side. She's getting close. She's getting close. She's getting close. She's got her. She's got her going into turn number 3. And now back down to the line. She's got 7 laps remaining. Can Piper Johnson hold off a fierce challenge? Meanwhile, Sharita Miller is pulling up on the back wing of Fisher. So Fisher's not only having to deal with Piper Johnson, but now a hard-charging Sharita Miller pulls up on the inside and makes a move trying to get past. Sharita pushes her into the corner, but doesn't quite get the move made. Almost drifts her up to the outside wall, but then that move doesn't pay off as they head for turn number 3. And it appears, as a matter of fact, Miller has now passed Fisher because Fisher slowed up a little bit, lost some momentum, but in the meantime, Miller gave it up there. She's catching up on the inside. Miller, in the meantime, the 2 of them together are catching Piper Johnson. We have 5 laps remaining, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 3-wide move. How do you like me now? 3 wide going into turn number 2. And would you believe who pulled up on the side? Sharita Miller has just passed them both, and now Piper Johnson can only look back from 3rd position, but can she? With 4 laps remaining here, or with 3. headed now for 3 laps remaining. Yes, she can, because she just passed Kayla Fisher, who's losing momentum, and she's trying to pass Miller. Oh my goodness, with 2 laps to go. Can they do it? Oh my goodness, this is 20. Are they 3 wide? Are they 3? They are 3 wide. They have remained 3 wide for an entire lap, and they still remain 3 wide out of turn 4. 3 laps to go. Johnson is trying to avoid being shoved into the wall herself by Miller, who is also trying to avoid being shoved into Johnson by Fisher. They're 3 wide still going in there. 2 laps to go. They're close to almost touching the wall. If they're not touching the wall, I don't know how. Bonsai move to the inside. 3 wide going into turn number 3. Johnson's trying to make the move. Here they come down to the line. White flag is in the air. Next flag ends it. Here they go. They almost touched the wall, but meanwhile, Piper Johnson has the move. Kayla Fisher second. Sharita Miller now passes Fisher. It's going to be close down to turn number 4. Here they come down to the line. Piper Johnson has won it. Piper Johnson, how do you like me now? Piper Johnson has won the Race to Home 300. How do you like me now? Woo! Woo! They were 3 wide. 3 wide going on the track. They had, pulling up on each other's bumpers. That is not normal. I mean, yes, it's a short track. Yes, it's 70 to 80 feet wide, but 3 wide finish. And would you believe, how about that? It was a close move. Piper Johnson just literally had every ounce of reason not to stay glued to that inside line. But Fisher was right behind her. Boy, they're congratulating each other. You want to talk about real sportsmen. They got out there and they're hugging each other. They're like, you know what? I will race you every day for that one. That move that Sharita Miller made to pass Kayla Fisher for 2nd place on the last lap was a beauty, because as they came down to the turn number 3, I know we were caught up in the excitement, so I'll explain this. And on the replay, it shows it. Kayla Fisher was on the inside. On the outside, it appeared to be a absolute just hornet's nest, and what occurred was Fisher was on the inside, Miller on the outside. Miller made a bold pass, and I mean to tell you, if they weren't banging wheels, I don't know how they weren't doing it. In fact, they touched tires, and both of them not only hung onto the car, but she pulled the typical almost NASCAR style crossover, and the crews were like, watch it on the radio, because they were, spotters had to have been nervous. But Piper Johnson pulls off one of the most just brilliant victories, and believe me when I say this, they said there was a health issue with Johnson. Actually, she got up. It was just the heat condition. She is all right. So but Piper Johnson has won a very spectacular event that, I mean to tell you, was just, by the looks of it, amazing. Piper Johnson wins it. Sharita Miller 2nd. Kayla Fisher 3rd, Marisha Thompson 4th, Ron Kellogg 5th, Samantha Simmons 6th, Afton Holden 7th, Ashton McGuire 8th, 9th Tiffany Winnery, 10th Candy Burton, 11th was Tom Otero, the 12th position was Jason Valdez, 13th position Frank Hamilton, 14th position was Mia Shane, 15th Fiona Nagori, 16th position was Rod Baker, 17th position, Shaylin Anderson. 17th position, Reed Foster. 19th position, 18th position, Reed Foster. 19th position was Cornelius, Ryan Huffiger, who took over. Ryan Scalish took over a position for 20th. 21st was Tim Spulak, out of the race in 22nd position. After problems with Stephen Mahoney. Jacob Hamilton was 23rd. And again, a lot of these, they had a lot of drivers changes. we do have a couple of people that were suspended after the race. We'll get into Culliver because of the accident, or correction, no, not Culliver. We are being told that but he almost did, but he got lucky on that one. And then, well, here's for the record books, folks. 23rd position, would you believe, was a heartbreak Harper Thomas. She really needed that win, but did not get it because of the engine failures. 24th position belonged to Jennifer Pratt. 25th place was going to be. We got 25th. They're showing us the original driver, but the actual driver they should be showing us is the replacement that happened on lap 263 to the pit stops. Okay, there we go. Now we see it. 25th position was Jamison Felder. 26th position, Jerry Holloway. 27th position, Michaela Johnson. 29th place was Caitlin Rodriguez. 30th, Marianne Schwartz, Mary Park, 30, and that was the 30th place car. But they had some replacement drivers. It didn't work out so well for some of those teams, but for a majority of them, it worked out. Our statisticians, our two statisticians to help us out throughout our team for this particular YouTube live stream, keeping us busy and making sure we followed the action as closely as possible. Our booth spotters today in the Master Tower were Jessica Mangan and Haley Turney. Our official reports from the turns, our turn spotter, Jim Jackson. Our pit spotter was Jim Foster. In the meantime, folks, what we're going to tell you is there will be regular content, non-simulated sports action, for more content later on to follow. The 3-race suspension, we are understanding, is going to go to the car of Jason Hamilton, or Jacob Hamilton, for having ran into the back end of another car 4 different times during pit stops. So that will put him in suspension. For Jessica Mangan, Haley Turney, and company, I'm Brandon Hennis saying thank you for listening to a simulated sports event. We are glad we could bring it to you. Hit that like. Wrong thing, Brandon, to do to the end. Hit that like, subscribe, and comment. And, listen, hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing me do a bit of simulated sport. I don't do this on my YouTube channel, I don't think I've ever done one of these on my YouTube, so but we decided to do a little something special for you. So before we wrap up, we'd like to remind you, if you see bullying, say something. If you or someone you know has been bullied, it is a good idea to speak up. If you're being bullied, speak up, reach out. There are friends out there willing to listen. If you're somebody that is a parent of a child that's being bullied, it is a good idea. Don't forget, you have a voice, and your children have voices. Make sure to help them speak up. Talk to your kids about the importance of not bullying others, and also what to do if they get bullied. With all that in mind, folks, Brandon Hennis speaking, saying so long for now. Join us on the next YouTube stream, where we're going to talk a little bit about just introducing yourself to the voice that you've been hearing on this YouTube channel. We'll talk a little bit about me, and things may be a bit new to you, but we'll explain a little more on the channel. Thanks for watching.